The Utah Mammoth is sorta proud to present Nashcast.
What the is a Nashcast?
Nashcast, the only hockey show on the planet. Hosted by a human speed bag, fourth line wannabe, healthy scratch, schnozzy moto, Tyson Nash.
Who the hell is Tyson Nash?
Never heard of him.
And the baritone with a brain, the velvet hammer, Mr. Silky, Tono Suave, the radio voice of your Utah Mammoth, Mike Folta.
Oh, Captain, my Captain!
Nashcast begins now.
Ready for takeoff.
Here's Tyler Ganoush and Mickey Foghorn. Wait, what? Oh, here's Tyson Nash and Mike Folta.
Feeling good, folks. Holy, look at you. I'm feeling good. You are looking good. Look at that stash, my man. You drive a white van also? That is so nasty. Movember is upon us, buddy. I love that you're doing it, fella.
This is like the first year I've really leaned into it or really tried. Like my facial hair looks like just fuzz on a peach. I mean, it's brutal. But like I had to start this. I had to start this back in October, so I got kind of a running start into Movember. But yeah, it's not doing me like I think any favors on camera, but it is, it's fun to try something new. You get some food caught in there every once in a while. I'll catch myself like stroking it every now and again.
Stroking it. I love it. It's like a habit. I miss mine. I'm not doing it this year. I actually might start. I'll be a late starter maybe and come in hot. The trucker. I think we all need the trucker back. So we'll see how that.
You have some hang with yours, right?
I do on purpose. Yeah. And it's color coded, right? I got gray flaps, right? Coming down each side of my mouth. And then it's actually pretty dark on the lips still. I mean, I'm getting gray. I can tell you that. I just shave it off, every couple of weeks just to, stay away from the Just for Men. But, Fultz, you look good. You look good. You're coming fresh off of a wedding. You were a dancing fool, you were telling me. So, I respect the hell out of that. Anyone who gets up on the dance floor, I am so jealous because I often don't. Unless I am like blitzed, I do not get up on the dance floor very often because when I do, it is scary. I'm bumping into people. I'm the white man with an overbite. The classic two-step.
We've seen the videos of you and Strutty and those guys singing at least, so we know you're some kind of performer. Do you remember the whip, Tyson? Like the dance move, like the whip, the nay-nay? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. I'm not doing it, but yeah.
No, that's like a few years back. It was big when I was yeah. So I'll never forget this, but I was probably like 6th or 7th grade when I'm at a wedding and the whip is like the rage right now. And I hit this whip and you like stomp your foot, right? And I just absolutely stomped on this poor girl's foot at this wedding. Like she was barefoot, took her heels off, and I hit this whip and I probably like broke her toe. She like goes reeling back and like hobbling off the dance floor. And I have not hit the whip since. This is a no whip zone when I'm there. It was a great time.
There's a casualty.
My cousins Brady and Diana. Get this. The University of Michigan, they're University of Michigan grads. They brought the University of Michigan marching band to play the fight song at their wedding. How insane is that?
That is unbelievable. What a great idea, right? I mean, it's absolutely nuts. I was at UND this past weekend, and I'm telling you what, that band comes into all the bars around town. I mean, just through the entire stadium on the concourse. I'm like, this is the coolest thing literally ever. It was, it's a show. Those guys are special entertainers. I can say that. So I get it. Why not have it at the wedding?
It was a blast. That sounds like a blast too. We got to get that college hockey, that feel, that environment at the University of Minnesota, hanging out with Logan Cooley when the Mammoth played the Wild. And we went to a game at the U, which was awesome. But there's a lot of great club hockey in the state of Utah. We've been keeping up with some of the local games from around Weber State, Utah State, University of Utah, all good programs. It's blossoming, but we got to talk about the pro team in the state of hockey, or in the state of Utah as well, Tyson. The Utah Mammoth. We're about a quarter, a fifth of the way into the season right now, here in the middle of February, coming up on American Thanksgiving, and it's a good time to kind of do a little quarterly review, crack open the spreadsheet, see what the bottom line's looking like. Just maybe we can start out overall, Tyson, with Utah in the middle of the Central, few games above 500. What have you seen from this group? What's kind of just the first thing that pops into your mind when you evaluate Utah's start to the year?
Well, and again, I've been following this team for a long, long time, right? So I think we've seen it all. Like, literally, we have seen it all. And so many positives to take away from the start of this year for me. And I'm sure for the coaching staff, even though they're in kind of a lull right now. I think they've lost 6 of their last 8 games. But they're finding still ways to get points, right? The last game they played, as we're taping this podcast, was the New York Islanders. And I think in years past, they would have completely lost that game, right? In regulation. They wouldn't have got to overtime, ending up losing that game, but they're finding a way to get points. And those points matter, because we saw last year, and this is a team that was in full rebuild mode, right? And now they're out of it. And those points are going to matter so big, because what were they missing by 6 or 7 points last year? Well, when you start to calculate some of those heartbreaking, gut-wrenching losses that we saw last year and years past, those add up. And those are the games ultimately that are going to keep you out of the playoffs. And this is a team that wants to be in the playoffs. They're talking about it. They had what a start. Like, you couldn't have asked for a better start. All the distractions are gone. They got a year under their belt. They're comfortable with the city. The fan base continues to grow. The community in Utah, the new Mammoth name, like Tusky, all the things, right? It was so exciting. And the facilities. These players have the best facility in the entire National Hockey League. And it's working, right? They're rewarding the ownership group and the management group for putting all that hard work all summer long. And they rewarded it with the start to the season that they had. Now they're slipping a little bit. And good teams, I say it all the time, good teams always find a way to get out of these slumps, right? You can't win 8 in a row and then lose 7 in a row, right? That just doesn't work. So you win a couple, you lose one, and you get back to the winning column, right? That is the key to getting to the playoffs. And I think this team has really, in my mind, started to really figure it out. And you look at the talent, right? Their top 6 is as good as any top 6 in the National Hockey League. They are so fast. I'm watching games and I am so entertained because the games are just flying up and down. It's like a track meet, right? And I mean, it's just fun hockey to watch, and it's turning into winning hockey.
You mentioned the recent skid. I do think some of that, Tyson, has to do with the schedule and this team being on the road so much. We just got done with a stretch where Utah was on the road for 8 of 9 games. They had essentially back-to-back 4-game road trips with 1 home game sandwiched in between. So I think some home cooking will be good for this team. You listen to head coach Andre Turi and the players talk, though, and they're still pretty confident with the team's performance. I think during the 7-game win streak, they had some bounces go their way, right? Like everything was falling for them. Whereas now they feel like they're mostly playing the same way. Like, a lot of the analytics, the metrics are still very strong, but they're not getting those same bounces. A couple of calls have gone against them. So I think the general trend is still positive for this group, even though the results have shifted a little bit. But I mean, as we record this before, at the eve of the Moms trip here against Anaheim and San Jose, wouldn't you have taken 10-7-1 to start the year for this team against some of the competition that they've faced so far?
1,000%. And that's the thing, right? I mean, this is a group. They're still young. I mean, they're still trying to find their way. I mean, I don't think a lot of people picked them even to make the playoffs this year, right? So to be above 500 at this point with that schedule that you just mentioned. And here's the other thing, and this is going to be a thing that this team now faces, and they haven't in the past. Teams come to Utah, teams came to Arizona they always got the backup goaltender, right? Every night it was like, we're playing Phoenix. We're playing Utah in the first year. Let's play our backup goalie, right? That matters. That makes a massive difference. And this year, I think you're seeing a lot of nights, they get the starter. They get the number one guy most nights. And that's different. That is a different animal. And I know because I played. I see it. And those number one goaltenders, they are just a completely different breed, right? So they're facing that as well as line matchups. You're on the road like this team has been this year to the start, one of the toughest schedules anyone has gone through to this point. So when you're on the road, you don't get first change, or you don't get last change, excuse me. So the line matchups are not in your favor. You're just throwing your guys out, and you're just running the clock, right? And when you're at home, you have a chance to get the favorable matchups that the coaching staff wants, right? Clayton Keller, and that also matters.
I want to get to some more home stuff in just a moment, but Tyson, do you feel like, aside from just the goalies, that teams are now starting to actually game plan Utah as opposed to just rolling out their systems and focusing on themselves? Where maybe that's what they did in the past. They just focus on themselves and not really have to worry too much about what Arizona or what a young Utah team was doing.
1,000%. And that's a great point, because that is what's happening, right? I mean, Utah, always plans for Florida, Tampa. When they come in, they're like, oh my God, we got to freaking shut this guy down. We're going to worry about that guy and this D-man. I don't think they do that as much, right? I think it's completely flipped. I think they're like, all right, let's make sure we play our game, our speed game. If we play the way that we know we're capable of, there's not a team in the league that can keep up to them, right? Really, that's how fast and talented this team is. And I like their third and fourth lines as well. Like, they got some grit, they got some size. You got McBain, you got Lawson Krause, Liam O'Brien. So you have those bigger bodies that can play that hockey as well. But I just think things are trending in the right direction 1,000%. And again, when they lose, though, that's when you need your leadership to really step up and make sure you don't lose again. Rick Tocchet always used to say, you can have one bad shift, just don't have two. You can have one bad game, just don't have two in a row, right? Because and he's a guy that's coached a lot of good players like Sidney Crosby. They take pride. If they lay an egg one night and everyone does it, I can tell you that Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, they will be the best player on the ice, bar none. The next night, they'll be the best player on the ice.
Utah's been really good at home to start this year. Utah had a couple big wins at home to start last year, but then actually really struggled at Delta Center. And, we heard from Bear and from Bill and some of the guys, maybe they're just gripping the stick a little bit too tight. So far at Delta Center in front of the Mammoth crowd, Utah 5-1-1 to open up the campaign on home ice. Let's actually get to a little soundbite from General Manager Bill Armstrong talking about last year, the group's struggles playing on home ice.
One of our issues was our players like our ownership so much and our fan base. When we played at home, we were over-emotional. We over-tried. We got over-frustrated. And it was interesting. It took us a while to settle in where it was actually home. It's like moving into a new house. It takes a little bit of time for that comfort to kind of set in. And once we did, we got fired. We were great at home with our fans, but it was almost like we over cared. But for us going through all that process, it was great. And our players are grateful.
So that's Bill talking about struggling at home last year. That is totally flipped this year, where there's a new comfortability playing at home. I feel like, at least, Tyson, but there's also, from the start of the year, kind of a business-like mentality, that expectations have changed. And now we're talking about 3 games over 500. Like, it's almost a little disappointing because they had that 7-game heater and they've slipped a little bit. But during their recent slip, Tyson, it has not come against divisional opponents, which is important. They've lost some games to Eastern Conference teams. Utah 5-2 against a very competitive Central.
Yeah, I love that. That was a great analysis by Bill, right? It's like a new home. It really is, right? And for me, I was one of those guys, and not every player is like that. Some guys like to play on the road, right? Because there's way fewer distractions. You don't have family, you don't have friends, you don't have wives and girlfriends. I need tickets, I need this, I need that, and jerseys, and like you're at home and the dog is flying around. You got people staying at your house. I mean, it's a thing. It really is. When you're on the road, you got your hotel, you got your boys, you got team dinners. That's the only distraction, right? And that's the fun part of playing. That's what I miss the most is the road trips. I don't miss playing hockey a lick. I miss the paychecks, but I miss the boys, the team dinners, building a team. And that's honestly where it starts, is at those dinners, just sitting there with the fellas, busting balls and telling stories and, talking about everything under the sun, who's hot, girls, whatever it is, right? And joking around and playing practical jokes. That's where you come together as a team. But for me, I also love playing at home in front of a crowd like that. St. Louis has an unreal crowd. I think we had like an NHL record at the time. It was like 350 straight games sold out. And literally, I would go through a wall in St. Louis for those fans. And they didn't care. You didn't have to be Chris Pronger, Pierre Turgeon, Pavel Demitra, Al McInnes for them to go to the store and buy a jersey. All they cared is that you punched the clock, you showed up, and you worked your ass off, right? And that was me. And I absolutely loved it. And when I come to the Delta Center and I watch that building and those fans and all the jerseys that are out there and the love and just everything. The kids are there and screaming and yelling. I mean, it is a hockey environment. I literally, that would prolong my career another 5 years playing in a place like Utah, because that building just rocks.
I maybe I could ask you about that, because I think for those of us who haven't played, like when we think of the advantages to playing at home versus on the road, we think of crowd noise. We think of, I don't know, like having a nicer locker room at home than you do on the road and things like that. But where is the true advantage? Because statistically, there is an advantage to playing at home. Like almost every team is better at home than they are on the road. But truly, like what is it that makes it so that you want to win 2 out of 3 at home, but you just need to be 500 on the road to make the playoffs?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was always the crowd and the last change. It is a legitimate thing. It really is. It matters. I think it's such a beautiful thing in the game of hockey, because I don't think a lot of fans maybe even realize it, right? That when you have last change, it is a massive advantage. You see them roll out their fourth line. Well, all of a sudden, Andre Tourny goes, okay, they got their fourth line out there. These guys are plugs. We're sending Clayton Keller over the boards. Right. And so now all of a sudden the coach on the other side is like, oh my God, we got to get our fourth line off and get our first line back out there again as soon as we can. So it's a complete cluster on the other side as they're trying to, change out players to make sure they don't get exposed. So that is a legitimate thing. But the crowd noise for me, Foltz, and just playing in front, everything hurts less, right? It hurts less to block a shot, hurts less to get punched in the face, and you want to do it. Like you look at a lot of tough guys, they loved, I think Ty Domi had, I don't know what his stats were, but like he fought everywhere. Don't get me wrong. He fought everywhere, and anyone that wanted to fight him, he fought. But he loved to fight at home in Toronto, right? That was a legitimate thing. You didn't want to mess with Ty Domi in TO because he had another gear. And that was the same way for a lot of players. It was the same way for me. I had another gear at home.
Well, I'm going to read off some stats as we roll along in our quarterly report, and I want you to stop me, or maybe we can just get into it after. But tell me what stands out to you, Tyson, as I kind of run through some of these. Utah, in terms of expected goals. Okay, it didn't take long for us to get into analytics. From our friends at Sportlogic, Utah, the 5th most expected goals per game. So they're generating scoring chances. Utah struggling on the power play recently, 1 for their last 21. Utah power play is around 16%. That's like 5th, 6th worst in the NHL right now. Penalty kill has been perfect for the last 7 games, so that's good. Utah's team save percentage, the goaltending, has been poor. I think it's fair to say as of late. We believe in Veggie, we believe in Vitek Vanacek as players, but the performance as of late, the numbers have not been great, and Utah needs that stat to turn around. Right now, they're getting bottom 5 goaltending. Utah has been out to great starts this year, +8 in the first period. That's the best out of any NHL team as we record this. Already 6 comeback wins this year for the Utah Mammoth, but they've also had 5 losses in which they've allowed the other team to come back. So they've blown 5 leads, essentially. I ran off a whole bunch right there.
Yeah, that's certainly got to change. And Foltz, you know better than anyone. I mean, you don't have to play to know how important special teams is, right? And there's a direct correlation to Utah losing 6 of their last 8 games with their power play. You're getting opportunities. You're getting 5 or 6 sometimes a night. And if you're not making those count, I mean, it's just too hard in the NHL today to score 5-on-5, right? It really is. It's a tough thing. So when you get those opportunities and your penalty kill is so good, you got to capitalize on the power play. So once that changes around, and just do me a favor, like just look at the special teams battle every night. And typically the team that wins that battle wins the game. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, that is an important thing. And we know Veggie, he's going to find his game. He is. Yeah. I know he's fighting it a bit right now, but he's going to shake it off and he'll be back kicking again because he knows how important he is to this team. Goaltending is also everything in the National Hockey League. So I love the fact that they're starting better this year. They're coming out of the gates. They're prepared to start on time. That goes a long way because you hear coaches talk about it all the time. You can't chase the game every night. Yeah, you're going to get scored on first the odd game, but if you can score, you put the other team into a mode that they don't want to be in. All of a sudden, they're down 2-0. They're down 1-0. They're changing their system. They're taking more chances, and that just opens them, up that much more to get exposed offensively.
Good news for Karel Vejmelka and Utah's goaltending situation is that the Mammoth allow the fewest shots in the NHL. In Utah, you look at their defensive numbers and you look at the amount of puck possession that they allow, the amount of shots they allow, the amount of scoring chances they allow. A lot of those numbers are pretty far down the list in a good way. That means Utah is suppressing those chances. We hear head coach Andre Tourigny talking about using team speed to defend. Like we think of speed and we think of breakaways. We think of using it for offense. But can you kind of expand on what Bear means by using speed to defend on that side of the puck, not just for scoring goals and flying down the wing?
Right. So I mean, it's real simple. Obviously, speed would be on the back check, right? So the other team gets the puck. Utah turns it over, which happens in a game. It's a game of mistakes, right? You turn that puck over and you're going down on a 3-on-2. All of a sudden, a back checker, a JJ Peterka, is flying back. And like a lot of teams don't have that type of speed, right? Yeah. That Utah has. So it helps on the back check. You come back to the middle of the ice. Obviously, there's a guy on the sideboards. You can jump on him in a hurry, right? Using that speed, taking away time and space. That's everything in the National Hockey League. When you play a good player, if you give those guys time and space, they will pick you apart and they make plays. So the faster you can get on guys and in their face and in their grills and on the body, the better chance you have of recouping that puck. So this is such a fast, quick, explosive team, and they are hard to defend. There's intimidation in our game, Foltz, and it's not always because of you fighting and a Liam O'Brien or a Lawson Krause or a McBain and how physical they are, but intimidation can come in a lot of factors. Connor McDavid is the most intimidating player in the NHL because of his speed. McKinnon, like even more so, because he does have that bigger frame and he will run you through the wall, right? Once he catches you, which he's going to do. So you can't teach speed. You really can't. And I know Utah, that is certainly one of their strengths, and they are a tough team to defend against.
Well, let's talk some fun stuff too. Let's talk about some of the scoring leaders And let's start at the very top. Nick Schmaltz, 10 goals on the year, leads the club with 21 years, 21 points, as you like to say, Tyson. A contract year for Nick Schmaltz. He'll be an unrestricted free agent at the end of this season, but he is putting a case together for why Utah should re-sign him at a big number.
Right, and he's already making, what was a big number, and his contract's coming to a close, coming to an end, and he made a lot of money for a guy that was putting up 55, 60 points a year. But I think the money really since Kaprizov has literally changed overnight, right? And whatever that number is going to be, it's going to be a big one if they intend to sign him and they want to keep him. And the dynamic duo of him and Clayton Keller, you know that's a thing. And you have to think that Clayton Keller is maybe going to have a voice in all of this too. Like, you can't get rid of my boy, my buddy, a guy that's, we played alongside each other for years now, right? So that I would think is a thing and goes into the equation. The money is certainly there. They can find the money to pay Nick Schmaltz. But what else is out there? Also, if you let a guy go like Nick Schmaltz, now you got to replace him with someone equally as good. And then you maybe don't have that same chemistry with a guy like Clayton Keller. Although I think a lot of players in the NHL would have no issue playing with Clayton Keller. I can tell you that. But you know what I mean? The chemistry, it doesn't just happen, right? It's built over time, and it's sometimes hard to find. So it's going to be interesting with Nick Schmaltz because he could pop out this year. He's on pace for well over 100 points, right? I mean, he's one of the league leaders in the National Hockey League right now, but he hasn't ever done that before. So what is he? Is he a 100-point player, or is he still a 60-point player? Is he playing that much harder in a contract year, or is he just at the perfect age right now and mature-wise and skill-wise that everything's just coming together?
How many points would you have on Keller's line?
I mean, you just go to the net, right? I mean, I love Barrett Hayton. I absolutely love him, and he is a stud player. I think he's so underrated, but I mean, he must just chuckle sometimes, right? Just watching those two guys, just how they cycle the puck, Patrick Kane-like in ways, right? They just buzz around the offensive zone. They're dropping it. They're cycling it. And they have eyes in the back of the head. They actually remind me a lot of the Sedin twins back in the day with the Vancouver Canucks. Just know where each other all at all times, right? And it is so much fun to watch. So it's going to be something to keep an eye on all season long because, man, if they don't sign him, that is a massive, massive blow.
JJ Peterka, one of the new additions for this team as well. He is tied for third. He has the fourth most points on the team with 13 so far this year. Let's hear from General Manager Bill Armstrong talking about adding some scoring up front for this group.
And then we've got, if we can add some goal scoring up front, it would be huge for us. And there's a couple guys in free agency there that could make us a little bit better up front. If we can do that, we've got a chance to get into the playoffs and hopefully achieve over 96 points would be huge for us as an organization.
That was Bill when we talked to him on Nashcast back in the summertime. He was talking about free agency.
I was having a good hair day, folks. I was having a good hair day that day. Oh, the tan was on point too.
Oh, I didn't even notice you. I was looking at Bill's hair. I mean, he's got like the movie star hair. You know what I mean?
Doesn't he? He's like Superman.
I think some days, like when he's close to making a deal, or maybe something good happens in the front office, like that hair has a little extra volume. You know what I mean?
Little extra volume. Oh yeah, and like think of that. So he played for the Providence Bruins, and like he's pretty as they come. But look at the size of him, right? It looks like he's got 2 bowling balls in that shirt of his right now. And like he hardly lifts weights right now. Like back in the day, he used to wear this black mouth guard, like playing for the Providence Bruins. And so it was him on defense along with Hal Gill. Hal Gill's like 6'6", and obviously Bill is all of 6'5", 6'6" himself. So those were 2 long, rangy defensemen, and those were long nights for the old Syracuse Crunch when I used to have to roll into that building, or the Worcester Ice Cats. with those two guys on the blue line. My goodness. But Bill has done a remarkable job. We know that, and we're seeing this. I've seen it for a long time watching Bill work. I mean, it's just endless how hard this guy works, the flights he takes. I mean, just every rink that he's in. No stone unturned, right? What he did in Russia when he went out and got Boot and Simashev, right? I mean, he literally had to parachute into Russia to get eyes on and boots on the ground, right? And he did it, and it's paying off. And every move that he continues to make is paying dividends for this group moving forward. Most recently, Logan Cooley, the Brinks truck was at Gunther's house. Then it was at JJ Peterka's house. Then it was at Logan Cooley's house. Doesn't show up at Nick Schmaltz's house. I mean, that's going to be, again, just something we'll be keeping tabs on. But this team is headed into the right direction.
Yeah, and that's another part of our quarterly review we can get into is the extension to Logan Cooley. And we knew this was a guy that everybody wanted to stay in Utah, and they figure out a way to sign Cooley to an extension that'll kick in next year. He'll be making $10 million a year for the next 8 years starting next season. But, I mean, how important is that for teams that you've been on, Tyson, to have a clear direction like that into the future where you know your star players, the pillars of your franchise, are locked in and are committed to winning?
Well, you know that they better be picking up some team dinners on the road as well. So that was always number one for me. But the other big thing is what does it do for free agency? Right? I mean, yeah, it's amazing in the locker room. His teammates are so happy for him, and you know he's going to be he's a foundational piece, and he's going to be there now for a long, long time. So, but I think the other big thing is that Utah is not where they want to be just yet. They know they need, a few more pieces and big pieces. So when you talk to people and players around the league and agents, and they're looking at Utah now as a destination to go and win not only once, like a lot of teams around the National Hockey League are built for, but once this team starts winning and making the playoffs, they are going to have one hell of a run. Like it's going to be 10, 12, 15 years straight. This team is going to win and be in the playoffs, not necessarily win because only one team wins the Stanley Cup, but they'll be fighting for it. And that for every player is what you want. You want to be on a playoff contending team. And Utah, on top of the beauty, the mountains, Park City, Deer Valley, the facilities, the best ownership group in hockey, they now have the right players in place.
When you guys go out for a team dinner, was it predetermined who was paying? Are you playing credit card roulette? How does it work?
That was scary. The credit card game is the scariest game on the planet. I always like birds in the bush because it was a little more skillful, right? I mean, you had to have some skill. You had to think a little bit. The credit card game is just the waitress, the last card that gets pulled out buys dinner, right? And dinners are not cheap, at least back when I played, because we drank the good stuff. Like, I don't know if the players are drinking a ton these days. I think they keep pretty clean, right? These diets that they're on. I mean, it's something. These guys are specimens. Not so much when I played. We would have 5 or 6 bottles, and those bottles were pricey. So those were dangerous times, but the best times of my life was those team dinners and just busting chops. And you had to have thick skin, Foltz. I mean, you know that. You see some of the banter that we have on the show, and that's the best part about it, is just ripping on guys. And if you're not getting ripped on, no one likes you, right? So that's the key.
What's birds in the bush? I don't know what that is.
So birds in the bush is the sugar packs. So you take 3 sugar. Every guy gets 3 sugar packs, right? And then you got to guess how many that the next guy has, right? I can't really remember because it's been so long how to play it, but it becomes a guessing game, right? And then you go around and you count to 3, and then you throw the sugar packs in the middle of the table, and you can basically bluff your way through this sometimes, right? And once you win, then you're out, and you can sleep easy, rest easy. You're not buying.
I had not heard of that, but I do want to try it. That would get contentious at our broadcaster dinner table with Matt McConnell. Oh man,
Matt
he would try to
McConnell would
weasel his
never
way
play
out.
that. Oh yeah, well he brings his coupon book everywhere he goes on the road, right? He's at Bennigan's and Applebee's.
He's got his alligator
I got
arms.
a coupon. Oh yeah. He's still got his first per diem from when he was. I don't know where his first time was. Atlanta, I think it was. So yeah. He's tight, boy.
Well,
Miss him.
No, he'll buy the dinner. He'll take care of us.
He does actually. I joke, but honestly, he's by far the most generous media personality that I've ever been around. I mean, he's been doing this for 1,000 years. He's like a dinosaur. So he's got enough bank. He's got enough bread in that bank account. So he should take care of the younger boys, right?
You mentioned Bill parachuting into Russia to get a look at Dmitry Simashev and Daniil But. We've seen Simashev this year. We weren't entirely sure he was gonna make it coming out of camp. Tyson, I was interviewing Mikhail Sergachev earlier, and I told Sergey this. I was like, we weren't sure if Simashev was gonna make the team out of camp, and Sergey like interrupts me, looks at me like I am 5 years old, and goes, "Really? You didn't know that?" Like I was an idiot. But so they obviously knew how special Dmitry Simashev was inside the room, inside the organization. They knew that early. And Simashev has been playing with Sergachev to start this year and playing a lot of minutes. Down in the AHL, Daniil But is scoring a ton of goals. He's got 7 goals already, almost a point a game player for the Tucson Roadrunners. But those two guys have both been off to impressive starts. I know you probably don't have time to watch Tucson between the Mammoth and your prime duties, Tyson, but I know you've seen Simashev a couple times, and he looks the part.
He does. And I have tuned into a couple of those Tucson Roadrunner games, and he has been so impressive. He really has. And I think I was reading a stat the other day that for all the American League players that are 23 years and under, But is number 1 for points in the American Hockey League. So that just tells you everything that you want to see, right? As a franchise, knowing that he's going to be the next big piece. And that's also what they need, right? They need a big skill guy with a big shot. They have a lot of skill, but a lot of smaller type players, right? So once they get into the playoffs, that could be a little bit of an issue, but But, no one's going to be pushing that guy around. And it shows how he's been playing in Tucson. So that is massive for this organization moving forward. And then, Simashev, this is a guy I wasn't so sure, just because defense is the hardest position to play as a young player. But this guy, he's so savvy. He's like an old soul, right? He's so charismatic. He's got so much personality, the way he dresses and the swagger that he has on the ice. And I mean, he skates like the wind, right? I think the biggest thing for me is that they're not hiding him too, right? When you're a young player, whether you're a forward, a lot of times a centerman, they'll put him on the wing because they want to, have him play a simpler game than getting, in those big defensive battles down low with the other team's top lines, and you can get exposed in a hurry. But especially on the back end on the blue line, a lot of times for a young defenseman, you'll want to protect those guys, but not this kid. They throw him right out into the fire. Plays with Sergachev. They're playing against top lines every single night, and he's a minute muncher, and he's just getting started. So that is really exciting stuff for me, on top of everything we've already talked about thus far with this show. But, it's automatic, really. I mean, they knew he had to play. I mean, he's your top 6 pick in the first round. They're going to make sure this kid makes the National Hockey League and is all those things, right? Because their jobs kind of depend on it for one, and the franchise is counting on it. So those are 2 big picks that are looking to be turning out just exactly how they hoped.
Well, we can start to wind down this quarterly report with Utah about to start the mom's trip, Tyson. And before we wrap up, I want to ask you, do you remember any parents' trips or anything? Because usually, you go out for a dinner or something with the moms or the dads. Last year, it was the mentors trip, so it was kind of anybody that the player deemed a mentor that was along for the trip. But Can you kind of describe those, like what those used to be like for you?
Yeah, well, so first of all, I'm old as dirt, Foltz. You know that. So there was only a couple teams at the end of my career that were doing it, and Arizona certainly was not one of them. So I did not have one, and that honestly, I had an unreal career. I am so proud of everything I did, what I've experienced. But that was one regret, one thing on top of not winning a Stanley Cup, obviously, but that I never got to do, because I think it's the coolest thing in the world that you get to expose your family, your mom, your dad. They do brother, they do sister trips. I mean, they're trying to get really creative with it, right? And I think it's the coolest thing you can do for your family who has given up everything, right? Literally everything at times to give you this opportunity to play hockey. Financially, the time commitment, right? All the things. And you got to bring your mom on a trip. Like, that is the coolest thing. They get on the airplane. They're like, this is how you travel? I never want to hear you bitch about anything anymore. This is the hotel you're going to stay in? Oh, my God, this is amazing, right? So we live a life like no other. I mean, it would blow people's minds. The food, the never hungry league, I call it, right? You get on a plane, you get in the hotel, there's always food everywhere you go, right? So you kind of got to be careful that way too. You can eat your way out of the league in a hurry also, but we are so blessed, so spoiled. And honestly, the Utah ownership group, they treat these players better than anything I've ever seen. So players, if you're listening out there, you're looking for a new team, this is where you want to be, because my God, do we get treated well.
Do you remember, like, maybe when you were a broadcaster then, when they became more standard, where every team was doing something? Like, did you ever witness like anything funny going on with the moms or the dads, or someone walking into the training room when they weren't supposed to?
Yeah. Oh, I literally, I've seen it all. Like, and I'm not going to name names, but we, like, just the most unassuming girl. I think it was the sisters trips, and this one sister was just pounding. I've never seen someone like chug a beer, like this girl could do. Tons of personality. It was so funny. And then we had a dad. I remember we were in San Jose again. I'm not going to say it, but we had scored a goal, and apparently all the fans were chirping into the box, right? Because they all sit in a suite. Everyone's got their kids' jerseys on, which is how it should be. So they're getting heckled all night long from the crowd in the Shark Tank in San Jose, and we end up scoring a goal. And this one dad was just going around, literally, he's got his middle finger out. He's just like giving it to everyone. And like, of course, us in TV, we show the booth, and I could hear the producer in the ear. He's like, oh my God, get off the suite. And the dad's just like, yeah, stick it. I mean, like yelling and swearing, but oh my God, all the other dads were just like, oh my God, who let this guy in here? Who let him out of the cage? But yeah, they have so much fun. I know another guy too. The biggest character I think I've ever experienced was Jordan Martinook. His dad, I can't remember. I think his dad's name it's Cam, or I can't remember, but his dad was the biggest beauty I have ever met in my life. And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because Martinook, he's got a hell of a personality, but his dad was just having himself a time.
Oh, you got to think that, especially the dads, they're getting after it, and they're getting their money's worth on that trip. As
the moms could be dangerous though, folks. The mom's trip could be dangerous, because my mom was hilarious. Like, I'll tell you a quick story. So I come out my first time in Edmonton, my hometown. I am so pumped up. You come out for warm up. I got no bucket on, and my mom was a beautiful lady. So I come flying out of the bench, across the blue line, and I'm doing a lap, and all of a sudden, there's my mom. Blonde hair. She's got a white rabbit fur coat on, and she is banging on the glass, and all the boys are just like, are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Who is this? This is Nash's mom. I never heard the end of it. So I walk in the locker room after warm-up, and I'm just horrified. And all warm-up, I'm just like, get out of here. Get out of here. What are you doing? Go sit in whatever. Just get the hell out of here. I wasn't embarrassed of her, but I was embarrassed because she's a beautiful, and I knew I was going to get abused, right? So I get in the locker room, and I'll never forget, Al McInnes is like, oh my God, anyone else see that hot blonde in the stand? She was eyeballing me all warm up long. I should give her my phone number. And they all, I was just like, oh my God, I wanted to crawl under a chair. So after the game, I went right up to the family section and I'm like, Mom, are you kidding me? I love that you're here. This is so cool, but don't ever do that again. So the next night we're in Calgary at the Saddle Dome. And sure enough, I come out for warm up and there's my frickin' mom right there again, banging on the glass. And again, all the boys were like, holy, she's following the bus. This lady's hungry. So my poor mom. But anyway, moms are moms, right? You can't take it out of them. But I can't imagine if we had a mom's trip with my mom there. Oh, geez.
Hey, at least the other team didn't get a hold of it, right? It was all in house.
Nowadays, I'd be pooched. Nowadays, I'd be in trouble. Good social media stuff.
Oh
though.
my
Holy.
God.
Yeah.
Well, we're hoping that it was a fun mom's trip for the Utah Mammoth. We'll no doubt have some great content that comes out of that. So be ready for that on Mammoth social media. But this was a good quarterly report, a little quarterly check-in here at Tyson to catch up on our KPIs and all of our other business jargon, goals and indicators and things like that. We'll put a pin in this and circle back next quarter. How about that?
Sounds good, buddy. Hell of a job, man. Hopefully the team keeps rolling. Above 500, that's the biggest thing. You just want to hang around, right? Just hang around and then step it up come playoff times and sneak your way in.
We'll see everybody next week right back here on Nashcast. Remember to follow the show, the Nashcast official on Twitter and Instagram. But Tyson, I'll be seeing you soon. You have a Nashcast coming up Saturday, right, against the New York Rangers. Is that correct?
Hockey Fights Cancer Night, yeah. New York Rangers in the house, so cannot wait for that one. Then our next one's going to be the Montreal Canadiens as well on November 26th. So we got some special guests for that one. Can't wait to break the news on that. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm missing you guys, buddy. Can't wait to get down to Utah, and the lake effect is calling my name. So we'll see you soon, buddy.
We'll play some Birds in the Bush when we get dinner. How about that?
I'll figure it out again for you.
We'll see everybody next
See you, buddy.